Good design, I think it should inspire whoever's interacting with it. I think it should also be highly practical and functional. It's always quite exciting to begin work in an unexpected and exciting new location. The brief was to basically bring these buildings back to life. The 6 canal houses had belonged to a bank, which was a very closed and corporate space, which the public couldn't go into. And they wanted to create a living hotel out of these buildings, but not one which you would come in and feel that you were walking into a museum. One of the most fun parts of a project for me is to do the research on the buildings, and obviously where these are, we're in the middle of Amsterdam, we're in a World UNESCO Heritage Site. These buildings have a lot of stories to tell. Amsterdam, at the time of these buildings being created, was the golden age of Amsterdam, the age of discovery, where the Dutch VOC was travelling out beyond its own territories to discover countries, to do trade. So we tied that all up very closely into a narrative where we could bring all the elements of design into that story. The hotel was previously a bank, so we have brought that connection into the guest experience by developing the bar down on that level, so the guest can actually sit inside the bank vault. And when that space was renovated, we brought out the original security boxes themselves, and we've used those covers on the back bar, including all the little tags. It was an interesting project to work on in terms of planning, because you cannot move all the way through all the buildings on one level. You have to go up and down stairs and through the natural cutouts in the actual buildings themselves. And in terms of the rooms themselves, there are 93 single rooms. Each room is a completely different design. Even if one room is on top of the other, there will be some quirky detail which is different to the other one. So it was a really fascinating project to be involved with. Ceiling heights were different, the way the rooms were set out, the light came in differently. We've got the canal on one side and the garden on the other side. So a guest could stay in this hotel for essentially once a year, 93 years, and have a different experience every time they came to stay. The business areas of the hotels and the guest relaxation spaces, almost those lines are becoming blurred. It's much easier for you to sit in the lobby and hold a meeting with somebody next to you and FaceTime them in another continent, surrounded by other guests who are interacting in a different way, more of a leisure way. We still obviously have meeting rooms, can be set up as a meeting room, but also they can be dressed for a dinner. It could be much more of a, maybe a birthday party, a big celebration, but because they're beautiful rooms in themselves. Things I'd like to see in the future, more use of sustainable products. What's available locally to the hotel, it saves on the time for things being delivered. It's a much more environmentally positive solution to sourcing products for the hotel. Also, it's good for local business. If we're using something which is created locally, it's got the essence of the locality. The next step for me is to work on another Waldorf Astoria, and this time it's in Jakarta, which interestingly ties up this whole story of Amsterdam and the VOC and the trading routes with the Far East, so it's very exciting. Also that these are heritage buildings, and the new building is going to be a very tall, modern structure in the centre of the Jakarta Business District. So it's a really sort of yin and yang kind of set up there with what we've started with here, and then coming all the way round to the end of the story, and for me tying it all up. I don't think it's possible to sum up design in just one word. I think the key words for me are to create, to inspire, and to organise.